Hi, are you a business owner who is concerned that your business model just doesn't scale, is highly dependent on the owner and certain key employees, and therefore your revenue is plateauing because there's bandwidth issues? First, I want to thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I am Nana Bonsu, President and CEO of Infinite Horizons Incorporated. I came to find out about this scalable business models, which is what I'm calling this framework that I'm talking about today. When I I came across the system, Value Builder System, which is a company that deals in business strategy and logistics for business, small business owners and medium-sized business owners in particular. So, a little bit about my history. I go way back. I have, just from an entrepreneur perspective, I lost a lot of my money during the through mutual funds during the 9/11 and dot-com bust, and therefore I realized that, look, if anybody is going to take care of my money, it's going to have to be me. So I decided to dabble into some stock options trading, which was my first foray into um, taking care of my own money and finances and financial management. Now, I didn't do that full time because I didn't want to just kind of jump both feet in there. I was kind of dabbling in it. However, I came to find out that that business, even though it had its upsides of not having inventory and no employees, it was difficult to make money. The best you could hope for was about even, at least in my case. So I decided that that was not going to be. So instead, I pivoted and I founded this company to Infinite Horizons about 15 years ago to focus on management consulting for IT companies and also for financial services companies. Uh, but what I didn't know then, which I know now, is there are certain ingredients that go into building a business beyond just having a marketing strategy or business plan that makes the business more scalable and also more sellable. And so in my case, I had a family situation, what you call a life stage event, and I needed some liquidity, but I didn't have liquidity in my business, and therefore I had to put my business on hold. My business was not sellable, so I couldn't just sell it and cash out, or even much less even get an earnout. So in signing a non-compete agreement and non-disclosure agreement, I had to put my business on hold and go and work in the corporate world. Fast forward to 2020, I was stressed out. COVID pandemic had hit, a lot of stress on me, my family. I had gained weight, and I decided, look, I needed to do something different. And so I decided to leave the corporate world. But before I did that, before I decided to leave the corporate world, I was working on trying to find out some of the things I could do to reduce my stress. And I came across this education platform called Mindvalley. Now, through Mindvalley, which is a virtual company, I came across Dr. Dennis Waitley's program called, it's like a 90-day program called The New Psychology of Winning. And I had heard of him, but I hadn't really read his books. And one recommendation that he made was to take an aptitude test. And through contacting the Ball Foundation, I came across one of the advisors, Mary Haney, and she helped me just figure out what I really wanted to do. And so as I was doing research, I came across, I wanted to do business advisory and coaching. Um, and and back then also consulting, because I had a consulting background. However, so in doing research, I narrowed it down to about 5 or 6 companies, and the Value Builder System really rose to the top because they had a system which, looking back on my business, I really didn't have. It was more of find a project and sell, and that was just not scalable, right? So I thought this was great. I was listening to your podcast. I read the founder John Warriller's books, Built to Sell, and I also read your market research study that talked about a new emerging industry called the value building industry. which is a natural evolution for the business coaching and business consulting industry. So as I applied that to, I had to reactivate Infinite Horizons. I realized that consulting was just not a scalable model. As I applied the different things that I wanted to do, different products and services that I wanted to focus on. And that then got me thinking that, okay, if this is good for Infinite Horizons, it should be good for other business owners that I wanted to serve. So this particular one is one of the frameworks that is in the system that Value Builder uses, which I am certified Value Builder advisor now. So I want to basically talk you through it, the ingredients that go into making this particular exercise so powerful, and hopefully it will help you in your business and free you up a little bit. At the end of the day, for me, the goal is, for most business owners also, it's about freedom and financial independence. And a lot of times that's why a lot of us go into business ownership or entrepreneurship. So this particular thing to me is the foundation, because what I've come to realize is in the course of my reflection and study and observation, a lot of the issues that business owners tend to run into in their businesses comes back to selling too many products and services. If you're a restaurant and you have a big and large menu, there's this show on Food Network called Restaurant Makeover, and a lot of times when the gentleman, the protagonist, goes to talk to business owners, one of the things he finds out is that a lot of times they have a large menu, about so many pages, and it makes it complex. The food costs go up because you have to find different things, inventory, a lot of inventory, food perishes. You lose money that way. You have to train a lot of people, and if you can find the right people that fit in the culture, you can come to depend on a few people, and also the owner is working around the clock and they burn out. So it's a similar thing in this case, which is that before you start, whether it's negative cash flow, whether it's just the owner feeling like they're burning out because they're burning the midnight oil at both ends of the candlestick, whether it's anything to do with employee issues, a lot of times it comes down to selling too many products and services. So the premise for this particular talk is that in order to scale up, having a scalable business model, you want to scale down or niche down. While it may sound counterintuitive, this exercise, as we go through it, you are going to see the reason why, which is selling a few things to many people or many customers versus trying to cover all bases for a few select customers. And that that brings up a point of when you highly dependent on a few large customers, a lot of times you want to be take care of the whole ecosystem, which means that you keep expanding your products and services. Before you know it, you, the owner, or maybe one or two few key employees, are able to deliver everything from beginning to end. You have to interface with the customer whenever there are issues. What that does is that actually introduces risk, and in the eyes of an acquirer or just any kind of valuation analyst, that reduces the value of your company. And if it reduces the value of your company, a lot of times the value of your company is tied to your wealth. So that diminishes the wealth that you have, and it also reduces your ability to transition out of your business when you want, and makes you less free, which undermines the goal that you have. All right, so now let's talk about what is involved in this particular scalable model. So let's take a look at, first do an inventory of your products and services. Typically, when I talk to owners, we do an inventory of their products and services, and there are three key attributes that we want to discuss when it comes to your products and services. One is how teachable is it? Meaning that how teachable is it to employees, especially if you have new employees that come on board? Can you teach all your products or say, whether you're a service company or product company, can you teach them how easy is it to teach to new employees without the owner or key leadership getting involved? So on a scale of 1 to 10, if the owner needs to be highly involved, then that's like a 1. And if the owner doesn't need to get involved at all, it's self-evident, then that's a 10. The other attribute you want to talk about is how valuable is it to the customer. And typically, a valuable product or service is one in which you are highly differentiated, as opposed to something that's a commodity where you can get anywhere else. So, like toothpaste. So that is something that is another attribute that is a key pillar of whether or not your business model is scalable. The third attribute is how repeatable the product or service is from the perspective of the customer. Are they repeat buyers? Do they buy your product or service on a repeated basis? So if it's a one-time purchase, we're gonna give it like a 0 because somebody buys it one time and that's it, right? So so let's go ahead and get into that exercise just to kind of illustrate what I'm talking about. First, I want you to, and then again, I'm going to just do it by hand, but you can do this on software. Like you can pull up Microsoft Excel and do this in Microsoft Excel as well. All right, so let me bring up this whiteboard here, and let's see. To get this thing going, I have set up this thing here. So again, you list your top products and services in terms of revenue or sales. And sometimes people are like, well, we have hundreds of products and services. Well, what you can do is you can summarize it up to the highest level at which you can determine what the sales are, and then use the highest level product group to make their list. So if you're a service company, you can again, the top services. If you're a product company, you can put down the SKUs. So I'll just call this, for the lack of a better term, I'll just call this product 1, 2, 3, or service 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way up to 20. Okay, and then we have the 3 attributes that I talked about. This is a very simple algebra. We're not doing any complicated math here. How teachable is it to your employees on a scale of 1 to 10? How valuable is it? And by valuable, I mean how differentiated is your product or service. Is this something that is branded? Like Coca-Cola is basically is branded to Coke. You can't get it anywhere else, right? How repeatable is it? Do customers? So again, you got to look at your sales sheet or your invoice sheet and see just the how repeatable, how often in any kind of given month, how often this particular product is purchased. And then what we're going to do is, for each product, we're just going to total them up, right? So and then once we get the totals, then we can rank it, right? Just rank it in reverse order, the highest total all the way to the lowest total. All right. So for example, let's just do it. Let's just try it. So let's just say product 1. All right. You can say that product 1 is not very teachable, right? Because it does require a little bit of thinking, whether it's like corporate finance, like if it's a service, if it's product, something that requires like, some kind of basket weaving or something. So it's not really very teachable. It does require a little bit of, you got to maybe go to like a 2-year college or 4-year college or something, some equivalent to do that. Um, maybe it's highly valuable, so maybe we give it an 8. And repeatable. People tend not to buy it a lot, right? So maybe 2, right? So the total then is just going to be 3 plus 8, 11 plus 2, which is what, 13, right? 13. Now, product number 2 or service number 2, we can say, oh, this is highly teachable, right? It's not too valuable. It's kind of a commodity thing, like a razor blade. And people tend to buy it, quite a bit, even though it's, so let's just say it's a 7, right? So again, we added, so 9 plus 2, which is 11 plus 7, that's 18, right? And then this one here, maybe we say, okay, this is teachable. This is it is somewhat valuable. There is kind of it's not really repurchased all that much. So 4. So again, we total it to be 16. So you do the same thing on and on and on and on. And then once you get to this point, we will then rank up. So in this case, the 18 is say the top one. The 16 is the second one, and the 13 is the third, right? So based on this, then you can then determine, okay, we're gonna maybe focus on the top 10 or something like that, right? And then come up with a plan to, once you go through this exercise, it just forms the foundation for certain decision making. One is the ones that come up at the bottom, you can then put a plan in place to start to divest out of that or de-emphasizing it, because you can, if you have custom paying customers, you can't just out of the blue get rid of them, right? So you may reduce your marketing spend on them. The other thing that you can do is start offloading those type of products or services to another company and transfer the customers to them. So that's and that's where sometimes it does take a little bit of courage, because losing the customers, you're like, well, that's dollars that I'm losing, but this is more for the long term, because you want to focus on the ones where you have the highest advantage. The next thing that you can do then is you can, if you're visual, you can plot this. One of the things that that comes to light, I wanted to show this, is if we do the two-dimensional plot, right? We have, how valuable is it on the vertical axis, and how teachable is it on the horizontal or the independent axis. And it's just, whether it's least teachable or most teachable, and least valuable or most valuable. One of the things that, one of the paradoxes that tend to happen is they actually have the teachability and the valuability tend to have an inverse relationship, which means that the graph tend to go like this. So, for instance, if we come here, product 1 was a 3, right? So product 1 was a 3. So let's just say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there was a 3, and the valuable was an 8, right? So 3 and 8. So we're gonna basically put that over here, right? The so this is going to be product number one, right? This is product one, right? The So product number two is a 9 and a 2, right? So again, so this is it's highly teachable but not very valuable, right? This is an exercise that you and your team will obviously be going through, and so this is product number two. And then let's see what product number three is. Again, you're gonna do this. You're gonna have 20 products, right, on this thing. Just for the purposes of expediency, I just did 3 of them. And then we have a 9, 2, and 7. Again, these are just random numbers, right? So 9 and 2, right? So this one here we're gonna use for this is like a bubble chart, so we're gonna use it for the size of the dots. All right, so 9 and 2. I'm sorry, so that was product number 2. So this was 8 and 4 for product number 3. All right, so 8 and 4 for product number 3, and that is going to be 8, and then that's a 4, so that's going to be like over here. All right, and then we'll call this product number 3. Now a lot of times, as you can see, this is just an observation out there in the world. So I understand you can say, well, these are random and it was to make a point, but this is actually observable data. This is in general, this is how it tends to work based on data that's been observed in the wild. It tends to go like this. So ideally, we want to be this is the ideal spot, right? We want something that is valuable and also teachable. So this is where a little bit of creativity and thinking has to be. If you have a product that fits over here, then great. Then that's where you want to start, right? So the whole point of this exercise. So even though we went through this, a lot of times plotting this on the chart helps make that decision, right? So anyway, so we have product 2 was 2, 7, and 4. So in this case, I would make so once you plot this on using like a software like Excel, the size of the bubble will show. So in this case, like what did we say it was? We said it was product number 2. The size is, I'm sorry, product number 1. The size is, size meaning the repeatable score. The repeatability score is 2, 7, and 4. So in this case, let's just say this is a 2, right? That will be a 7, so this will be much larger, and a 4, right? Something like this. So this will just kind of help us just kind of see how we want to do this. And you're gonna have once you go through this exercise, there are going to be some things that that get populated over here also, and a lot of times what we've seen some companies do is they can bundle this, right? They bundle it. They bundle this and they brand. They bundle this and they brand, and then that then moves it over here to the ideal spot. So that is one. So So it's option one. So you have options. Option one is you have products or services that are both teachable and valuable, right? That's one option. So I'll just say scalable model options, scalable business model options, right? Option two is you bundle um, actually we don't want to do the ones that are so we don't want to bundle the ones that are less teachable. So just excuse me for that. We are going to not do this. Instead, what we're going to do is we are going to bundle, because we want to focus on the ones that are highly teachable, because that's what frees us up, right? So and then move that here. Okay, so forget this one. All right. Is to bundle so is to bundle most teachable but least valuable products or services, right? And brand it. These are the two key options that you have. And then once you have this then becomes your scalable business model, right? So as an example, one case study, a company that went through this exercise is a company called the School Photography, the School Photography Company, and their website is www.schoolphotographs.co.uk. School Photographs, plural, .co.uk. It's a UK-based company, and what they did was they looked at their products and services, and they went through this exercise, and they have a very good business model in an industry where a lot of times a lot of photography services companies, the business tend to be highly dependent on the owner. All right. So here is an example of a photography services company, what a School Photography Services company went through. The key ones that they had was in weddings. They call it football over there, but it's actually soccer in the U.S. And school photos. I'm sure there could be other things that they could do. But these were, let's just say, their top 3 products and services. And when they went through this exercise, they decided to give it a rating, right? So they said, well, taking pictures at weddings is teachable, highly teachable. So they gave it a 7, right? Again, this is on the scale of 1 to 10, 1 to 10, on the scale of 1 to 10. So it's kind of qualitative, but this is based off of the experience of the owner and key employees. ideally, you want to do this as part of a group, and that way you can at least average it out, um, and that you can eliminate as much bias as possible. Um, and weddings highly valuable to both the bride and the groom, so they gave it a 9. And repeatability, they gave it a 0. And the reason why is hopefully you only get married one time, and that's it. So when you total it, you get 7 plus 9 plus 0, you get 16. When it comes to football or soccer, again, this is highly teachable. I mean, just kids in front. I mean, short kids in front, tall kids in the back. Just move them in and out. Um, it's not as valuable because anybody can take pictures of their kids using their iPhone cameras and whatnot. So, or even like exchanging in the U.S. it's called baseball cards and photos. So they give it a 3, right? It's highly repeatable, so they gave it a 9. And so it's 12 plus 9, that's 21. When it came to school photos, again, highly teachable, right? Short kids in front, tall kids in the back. Highly valuable to parents and to principals, because principals need principals or headmasters in the UK's case. They need kids to be in and out quickly. Parents obviously want the memories of their kids in school, and it's highly repeatable. Every year there's always going to be school photos, right? So that then gives us a total of 27. So if we rank them, that is going to be 1, 2, and 3. And I'm highly visual, so I did these 3 circles almost like the hedgehog concept in the book Good to Great. So if you take the 3 attributes that we talked about, teachability, variability, and repeatability, we want to see where they hit over here, right? Now, because the weddings, they don't have repeatability, weddings are probably not going to hit over here. So if we have, so we're just going to call this, so school photos. So I'm going to put SP for school photos, and then football or soccer, F/S, right? Square is a smack dab in the middle. So that really eliminates weddings, right? Besides, the other thing is that because it's a one-time purchase, we don't want one-time purchases, one and done. Again, from my own experience, where I do a project, and then the project is done, and I go find another project. That was not the exact paradigm for a scalable business model. So not only this is out, just for the sole purpose of it not being repeatable. And one of the things is repeatability is actually probably the most important thing in terms of, because obviously that goes into revenue and cash flow. The teachability just provides freedom, right? Because you can offload a lot of things off of the shoulders of the owner and key employees. All right. So once we focus on, okay, we're gonna then focus on the products that fall in here, and then the ones that fall in here, then decide where the cutoff is going to be. All right. Once again, the school photography company went through it, and then what they then decided to do is, based on this, they decided to just focus exclusively on school photos. Okay, school photos, and they are doing extremely well. So I hope this was helpful to you. take this, take your team, your leadership team, or even if it's just you, uh, go through this exercise, and after you identify that this the product or service that you're going to focus on, um, then you can then start doing things like what's going to be your marketing strategy, what are you going to do with the customers that may be on the other products, how are you going to transition them off of it. And I gave you a couple of ideas, which is you can offload them to a different company to provide the services. Obviously it needs to be a smooth transition, and ideally you will make it as transparent as possible for the customer. All right, so that's it for this episode. Yeah, again, make sure to get the I have an accompanying PDF for this, for you to take notes. Also, I have another gift that I've attached in the one pager for you. So give it a look. Let me know what you think. Till next time, see you soon.